Okay, guys, did the FCC ruin all the Queen's men? I'm going to be talking about something that's been slick bothering me for a little while on All the Queen's Men. And consequently, we've reached a point in television where the real deal has been replaced with a silicone stand-in, and they look as fake as a $3 bill. Now, before we get too deep into this, let's pause for just a moment and explore the decision-making process on these substitutes. Now, I've worked in the prop room before, and I've worked on the set, and I'm a little bit confused about how these prosthetics are actually ordered. Do the not-so-endowed actors just flip through the latest prosthetic catalog like they're ordering lunch? How is this done? I'm feeling a little confident today. Let me get that extra long one with the large nuts. Or no, never mind. Let me get that showstopper. I'm gonna be on screen for a while. And I can just imagine the awkward small talk that's going on in the prop department. But let me get serious for just a second here, or as serious as you can get when discussing anatomy parts. The big question here is why? Why switch from the natural, God-given truth to prosthetics? One theory is that this could all be about the FCC or some network level regulations trying to rein in on what they can and can't show on TV. Because remember season 1, Midnight used to walk around the VIP room butt as naked. Like they weren't shy about giving us full frontal. Holy moly, okay? Or maybe there's an internal memo floating around somewhere that says that there's too much reality and not enough plausible deniability. Who knows? But here's the thing. Queen's Men isn't some family-friendly drama. The show isn't exactly trying to cater to a devout Sunday school audience. So why this sudden move from what's real to fakery? I mean, do we really actually care if it's real or fake? I mean, maybe the prosthetic is like a part of their costumes. I don't know, they just look so unreal. And I may be wrong. They always make sure that the camera catches every inch of it, and it's just always there in our faces, like you can't miss it. It's almost as if they want us to talk about it. But I just don't think that every actor that they cast for this show is well endowed like that. Like, is that a part of the audition piece? You must have a large schlangelang? I mean, maybe so. Remember how Madam just sized that guy up in the restaurant when he told her that he wanted to be a dancer at Club Eden? It was as if she wanted him to strip butt naked right there in the restaurant. I don't know. Maybe this is a part of the audition. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the one that's just noticing this because it's just so prominently in our faces all the time. I just know that they went from real to fake, and I need to know why. Sudden shift, it raises a lot of questions with me about storytelling, character realism, and like audience perception, right? First off, this is a show that thrives on raw emotion, but when you introduce prosthetics into the mix, there is an unintended layer of deceit and trickery that can creep in, right? And suddenly we're not just suspending our disbelief for the characters or for the plot, we're having to suspend our disbelief for the schlangelangs. Right? And that's weird, even for a show that's over the top like this one. And it also plays into the character realism or lack thereof. These are characters who are supposed to feel like real people with real lives and real consequences, right? They're not superheroes, and they're definitely not cartoons. They're raw, flawed human beings. But when you start bringing in these accessories, their bodies then look like action figures, like it chips away at the authenticity, right? How are we supposed to buy into the emotional weight of a character's breakdown when we're distracted by the fact that their growing area down there looks suspicious? It looks suspiciously sculpted, right? And let's not forget about audience perception. The thing is, we know, like we're not stupid. We can tell the real from the fake. We've been with this show like for what, 4 seasons now? Out of the blue, you just want to pretend that Rayshawn is packing. And that we don't notice the switcheroo. And it's like they're banking on us not knowing the difference, but we know. So why switch up now? And if this were the standard from day one, maybe it wouldn't be such a big deal. But to change course midstream, it feels weird. Are the producers like responding to complaints or something? A misguided attempt to sanitize the show somehow? Or is this just another example of TV networks overthinking everything? Is this change for the actors to make them feel a little bit more comfortable on set? If so, fair enough, right? But there are a couple of dancers that we know for sure is packing for real, because we've been watching his schlangelang since before the prosthetics were even thought about, right? So maybe some of the dancers feel that, okay, since he's slanging, then we need to slang too. But let's just be honest. I mean, lately, everybody's growing area It's the same size, the same length. It's placed in the same position. Like how? None of that is real. And it feels like one of those situations where executives made a decision based on what they think the audience wants rather than what we actually want. Because let's face it, fans of All the Queen's Men, we're not here for the subtlety, right? We're here for the bold, the brash, the unfiltered, and the realism of it all, right? If we wanted fake schlangalangs and sanitized drama, we'd be watching something else entirely. And while we're at it, can we talk about the irony of it all? This prides itself on pushing boundaries. They're now pulling punches in the most unexpected places. Sure, the performances on stage, they might be still good, but once you notice, you just can't unsee it. I mean, it's becoming more and more obvious with each episode. It's like the props team is like, yeah, babyface, go ahead and grab schlangalang number 18 and put it on. We'll get somebody over there to adjust it for you. We'll get somebody over there to adjust it for you before we roll. And at the end of the day, this whole situation leaves me with more questions than answers. Is it about censorship, a creative decision that got lost in translation? I don't know. Whatever the reason, one thing for sure, it's a bold move, but not necessarily in a good way. And that's just my opinion. And I just think that the prosthetics, it undermines one of the show's greatest strengths. We're here for the real. Period. And All the Queen's Men has never been a show that tiptoes around anything. It's too bold and it's unapologetic. So why start faking it now? If anything, it feels like a step backward, a concession, if you will. And to me, it doesn't align with the show's ethos. And in the grand scheme of things, this might not make or break the series, of course, but it's a fascinating example of how even the smallest production choices can ripple through a show's identity. As a viewer and a fan of the show, I'm sure you may feel the same way. I mean, we watch these stories wanting authenticity, no matter how heightened or dramatic. And when the authenticity is compromised, it's just hard not to notice. So as we dive deep into the rest of season 4, let's keep an eye on these prosthetics to see how this issue is going to unfold. And I did notice that Rayshawn's schlangalang looked a little bit more real than it did last week. I mean, this one has a little bit more detail to it. It's not just sticking out like a baton. Now, the question is, will these prosthetics fade away into the background and just go away one day, or will they become a permanent fixture on the show? These are just my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. And this time, I want you to comment and let me know which dancer you believe is real or prosthetic. It doesn't matter which dancer it is. Just let me know down in the comments below. And we're going to make this fun, but you cannot say Doc. Don't say Doc, because everybody and their mama know that Doc is real, 110%. So don't say Doc, okay? Or Midnight, because we saw Midnight, right? But anybody else, go ahead and drop their names down below and let me know if it's real or not. So thank you so much for joining me tonight on Ruthless TV, you guys, and I'm going to see you on the next one.